Yeah, I've been waiting for this.
Alright guys, welcome back. Another tutorial, really short one, probably like 5 minutes to be honest, because it's just going to be talking about a couple of things that are going to make our game that bit better. So you saw in that demonstration, we have a camera that actually follows our player. It was about time that we figured that out, wasn't it? Some of the properties of our camera is that, of course, it follows our player around, but it also has a little bit of a damping effect attached to it, which we can actually manipulate in the inspector. Now we're going to attach a script to our main camera, and unlike working in 3D, if you saw the other tutorial, we're not going to have to mess around with the transforms before we actually attach this script. You just attach the script straight away, make your player a target of that script and mess around with the damping with damp time there, and what that creates is a really smooth feel on the camera. So there's a little bit of a delay when our character moves around, which is nice because it just makes the game seem a little less jittery. So let's take a look at this script and see what we're talking about here. Okay, so I'm in Visual Studio. The script is very simple. It's something that I found on Unity forums. And it's got a public float here, which is damp time, and that we can manipulate. So the higher the damp times, the longer it's going to take for our camera to follow our character. Got a private vector 3, and that's to do with all the movement. And then we've got that public transform, which is our target. And then so if we have that target set up, then we're going to follow all of this protocol down here. I mean, it's really simple, guys. Have a go at just implementing this script into your own game, and it should work out pretty well. Now, I thought it'd be kind of lame if we just left it at that. So why don't we talk about how we can conserve some memory in our game? So I go back to Unity, and one feature of our game is that it's really good at taking up all of that space that we have in our, computer to process things, because we've got like a ton of things happening. If I had an enemy out here, then my enemy would be shooting shots, and then those shots would go out into nowhere, right? If I shoot my own shots, they're just going to go infinitely into space. And so we have all of these instances of things just happening, and it's just going to cram up our game, make it run kind of crummy. How are we going to fix that? Well, I'll demonstrate the fix. I'll give you 5 seconds to figure out how we've done that. Did you see what we did there? So when we shoot an object, when we shoot one of our bullets, as soon as it leaves our field of vision, it disappears. And that's what we're going to be working on. How can we apply that? So instead of attaching some kind of collider or maybe bounding box around my camera, around the field of view for my camera, I've got a very simple script set up. And this is using a new function that we haven't explored before, but one that's really useful. So we go over to our player here, and we find the prefab for our shot. And then I'm going to open my shot here, and let's take a look at what we've done to our script. So our script remains as bullet, but I have made a couple of changes to it. So I'll just edit the script in Visual Studio. And so we have our standard bullet script up here. That's just to have our object moving. But on the bottom here, we've got on invisible, destroy game object. And that's literally it. When our game object becomes invisible, and really that means when we cannot see this game object, it's just going to get destroyed. And so this is something we can attach to a ton of things. We can instantiate enemies at certain points in our levels, and then, if we run off screen, then our enemies get destroyed. That's kind of a cheap way to go through the game, but it's a good way to conserve things. At the same time, we don't necessarily have to have that happen. The script isn't a universal blanket for everything that we do, and it doesn't cover anything on a particular layer. You just have to put this function on an object and it'll behave accordingly. So there's a couple of things that we can do to just refine our project a little bit more. I say refine, but the movement of the camera is actually really super necessary. But that has been another press any button tutorial. Real short one this time, guys, but there are more videos that are going to be coming around the corner for this series and other series on the channel. If you liked it, hit the like. If you want to subscribe, I'm not going to stop you. You want to comment? Same thing. And you know the catchphrase around here, guys. Press on and keep creating.